Good afternoon, everyone. Some Daily Illini Sports Update. I'm Erik Prado with Sam Sherman, and we are here at Memorial Stadium after the Illinois football team falls to Purdue 38-27. And there's no other way to say this, Sam, but this was just an ugly game. This was a game that we all expected the Illini to win. Purdue is general consensus the worst team in the was the worst team in the Big Ten, and I say was because now the Illini are probably the worst team in the Big Ten. It's the same story. Offense does their part, defense does not help out at all. There's no simpler way to say that. Defense gave up 349 rushing yards to a team that coming into today, their season high was roughly 200. 551 yards of total offense to Purdue. Let that sink in. Like, there's no Illini offense at 515 yards. Like, we know the players and the coaches are going to say we have to score more points. But come on, they did their part.
You said it once, and I'll even say it again. 551. I'll say it into the camera. 551 total yards of offense for Purdue, and in Champaign. This is not not that I think it would really matter much, but this is not a Purdue home game. This is an Illinois home game, a game that they had to win. They knew they had to win. Everybody knew they had to win if they wanted any shot at, I don't know, I guess a bowl game or something. And there was basically nothing positive. And I say basically because there was, the one positive, I guess, was that freshman wide receiver Mikey Dudek collected over 200 yards today.
200 exactly.
200 on the
8 catches
nose,
for 200 yards.
Which I think is it's definitely a positive for the team, but it all goes back to the defense, and if they can't stop any team's running game, then I think that it's really hard to take much of anything away positively.
Yeah, no, the positive again is Dudek and Westlawn. Westlawn was 27-39
playing
for 313,
basically,
essentially only on one leg.
Yeah, he
re-aggravated his calf injury from Washington in the first quarter, and then he took another. Then he was getting knocked down the entire game. Bill Cubitt cannot be happy about that. Lund had no time to throw, and even when he did throw, we saw him getting just decked on the ground. So for him to perform like that and still want to come in and try to win this thing, it speaks testament to his character and whatnot. But I think at this point, the story shifts to the coaching staff. Beckman's seat was already hot. Probably got way hotter today. Banks is on the hot seat, if he wasn't already. What do you think? Do you think anything happens in the near future regarding these two? Yeah,
well, I look at it so you look at the rest of the games in the season, and you think, well, maybe there's a way for the coaching staff to keep their jobs, essentially. I won't name anyone specific, but I think we all kind of know who is being referred to. And you could maybe get a couple wins or get one which would at this point be a major upset against most of the teams that they're playing going forward. But I don't see one. I don't really see one game that you can even say is close to a win for the Illini going forward. And for that reason, I think that there's going to have to be some very serious discussions going on about what has to happen. Because nothing's going to happen mid-season. I think that's pretty clear. Even though maybe it should.
I was actually going to ask about you that. I'm going to disagree with you there.
Okay, well, let's see.
I think there should be at least something needs to happen mid-season. Something. Whether it's on the defensive side, okay. If it's on the top, okay. I think that there's someone on the staff who is suitable enough to step into the top position if need be.
I can't disagree. The only thing I maybe don't totally see eye to eye on is I don't think it could happen middle of the season. I think that they're going to wait on these things.
I see I'm not one. I tweeted about this. I'm not one who usually calls for mid-season coaching changes because they most of the time do not work. The only recent thing I can think of that worked was USC last year, and they were losing, and they won on that streak. But this is
it's sort of a different
This has been going on since 2012. The first year was like, okay, first year new guy, Ron Zook left the program in shambles. Second year, it's like, okay, some bit of improvement. But this was the third year. This is the all important year, and just throughout the first games, come from behind wins. When Nebraska lost, Washington losses, those were expected.
Mm-hmm.
But today, just no.
And I think it's sort of like you can look at like I'm spacing out of exactly what I'm going to say. I'm just looking at the stat sheet honestly right now. I can tell
ugly
everyone,
stats.
it's ugly. There's a lot you can take just of all this negative stuff, and in terms of like the midseason coaching change possibility, you look at it and it's like I think the difference between you look at like a USC where it worked and in Illinois is, Illinois is years away from any kind of years. I mean, maybe decades away from being at a spot where USC was able to do that.
Yeah.
And kind of come back from it because they
already
have
have the
reputation.
talent.
And where Illinois football is a program that still needs to build up to any kind of build back up if you ever want to say that going back to some time, but it's rough and I think whether you want to say that 3 years isn't long enough to judge whether a coach or a coaching staff can do something with the program. Even if it is or it isn't, that's the way that college football is, and that's how long coaches get. And so, that's kind of just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been in the belief that a new coach should at least have 3 full years. But we're not seeing any improvement on the defensive side of the ball. Last year, the offense, under Bill Cupid's first year, they played pretty well. Continuing the same thing this year. I mean, Lunt's a top quarterback in the Big Ten and one of the top in the nation. Like, this is a guy who legitimately could have a future in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And offense is up here, defense is way down here. They're not going to win games like that.
Yeah, and I mean it's just sort of like, and you and again you look at this schedule and sure are there games that if Illinois was somehow able to win, could that save a job? Sure, why not? But there's none that are possible to.
Yeah,
looking at how
then
they
another
play.
thing. Let's say they do go on this like a winning streak, get to a bowl game, but then you're gonna have this perpetual cycle, kind of like the Bears, but this perpetual cycle of mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
No top coaching talent is gonna want to come here. Mm-hmm. No top recruits are gonna want to come here because the coaching staff could be gone and just like that.
Yeah.
So.
And really quick to mention, we'll wrap up in a second, but I think you look back to last season, and actually they had a couple of. I can't call them signature wins. They had a couple of solid wins. You look at like Cincinnati or Miami of Ohio. They did a couple things there where you're like, oh, maybe there's some progress. And then of course Big Ten play happened.
Yeah, and they had that brutal stretch to open a Big Ten. It was like Nebraska, Michigan State, Ohio, Wisconsin,
it was rough.
Ohio State.
So that's why going into this year, you're thinking, well, maybe with the schedule that is in place, there could be some more improvement. And actually, we've seen very little from this team. So.
But would you agree that Mike Thomas is, in the thought of seeing who's out there, is entering his head?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if he's not, then he's not really. I don't think he's doing his job to the best.
Maybe he's waiting for basketball season like all of us.
Yeah.
Well, again, Illinois football. I'm sure you all know by now. Lost to Purdue, 38-27. We should have another video update next week coming from Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That probably won't be a happy one or a positive one. For Sam Sherman, I'm Erik Prado, and thank you for watching.